Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Susan. I was born clairvoyant and I had a near-death experience in which I merged with God, and now I help other people through their spiritual awakenings. Welcome to my channel. This is number 13 of my noticings from my near-death experience. So, number 13, and the last of the ones I recorded, is this. Everything is God. Everything. And I'll just say one quick caveat, which is I use God because we need a name for it. It is an unnameable energy. It is an uncontainable and unfathomable energy. But I do say God for the sake of convenience. And in my personal practice, I actually don't use that word God. My understanding and conception of God is constantly evolving and constantly changing. And so are my names for this energy. But you'll often hear me use the word God because it is the most widely understood. Unfortunately, it also comes with, I think, the most baggage and the most fear, which is really why I do any of these videos that I do. I promised God while merged with that energy that I would live transparently, which meant coming back to earth and coming out of the spiritual closet, which I was terrified to do, since by the time I'd reached kindergarten, I had known by my parents and my priest to never speak about all the things that I see. I was born clairvoyant. I never understood what that meant, but even at a young age, I did know there had to be some purpose. And when I had my near-death experience, and I made that direct promise to that prime energy, this is my way of following through, of living transparently. If you had told me years ago I would go on camera on YouTube and speak openly about everything I've seen since childhood and all of my spiritual experiences, I probably would have moved to the middle of the desert and never come out. That's how afraid I was to begin this journey, because from a very young age, it had been deeply impressed upon me that, one, I was not seeing what I was seeing. And because of my own misinterpretation of what I was seeing, in addition to the information I was getting from church, I actually thought I must be a really bad person. And that's a little bit of a side story, but long story short, one of the angels, Archangel Michael, was with me every single day. Every day. And if you didn't know this, Archangel Michael actually really does have a deep desire to help children who are extrasensory. And because he was helping me ground, he appeared as a pomegranate color. And he did not look like the other angels. I could not see through him, and he was very slow moving. So with my intensive and old-fashioned Sunday school knowledge, I actually attributed Archangel Michael to being the devil, which I also do not believe in anymore. But as a child, I believed Satan was following me every day. So between that and my parents telling me, you're definitely not seeing everything you're seeing, I grew up with a very, very poor self-esteem, to the point where I actually loathed myself. But when I was merged with this energy, and I became aware that we were one and the same, that it wasn't like I was taught in Sunday school, where God is like the Father, and I am a fruit on his vine as a child. When I was merged, I knew we were one and the same. There was no separation and absolutely no difference. That each one of us is just a dollop of that same prime energy, temporarily embodied and temporarily unaware. But what I realized after coming to, before I was in those blazing golden rays that I had called God, I first found myself in what some people call the void, which was an impossibly silent, wet, black velvet type space. And at the time, I was 41, and I was still terrified of the dark because of my clairvoyance. I had started spiritually studying and meditating 20 years ago, but I did not get a teacher for my clairvoyance to understand that and to master it and to be able to help others with it until after this near-death experience. So ending up in the void in that moment just felt like the most scary thing that could ever possibly happen, because I had been terrified of the dark my entire life. Because as a clairvoyant, when it is dark, everything you see all around you all day long is all the more illuminated. It's kind of like going into a movie theater versus watching the television with all the lights on. So what I realized coming to was that the void was also God. That was the negative space, if you will. That was the canvas that God had not pushed out into form yet. I realized that God is not just those blazing beams of light. I almost consider God a compound, but that obviously does not do God justice, because God is also 100% sentient and 100% not sentient, and knows each and every one of us down to the finest detail. It would shock you to feel yourself in a wordless exchange with this energy. I thought God was a vague but loving force until this near-death experience. And then when I found myself immersed in this energy, having this sweeping yet intimate exchange, it was shocking how intimately God knew me. But it made sense as my experience continued on, as I realized, of course, because we are one and the same. And in fact, in all the multiverse, there is nothing but God. The chair I'm sitting on, my lip gloss, Susan, the carpet. There is only one compound in all the multiverse. Whether it is form or not form, whether it is something or no thing, there is only God in its infinite and limitless and ever-changing forms. And to me, I find that to be extraordinarily comforting. That means if everything is God, I am God, you are God, that means there is one toothpaste tube. And everything in the multiverse comes out of it. And it's like Wayne Dyer used to say, you'll never get apple juice from an orange. So what does that say about the quality of our characters? Our natural state, our true selves, our essence that is eternal, that never dies, is of the same glorious quality of Source itself. I find this to be one of the most beautiful truths I experienced. That just like you'll never get apple juice from an orange, we are that very same compound that goes by so many names, often called God. It says something so remarkable and so beautiful. It's almost too much to even wrap your head around. But it speaks to our true nature. And I can't think of anything more glorious or more uplifting to be able to share with you, even though this was just my personal experience. I can tell you this, it was more real. I can remember it viscerally, physically, mentally, emotionally, as if it happened 5 minutes ago. But if you asked me, what was I doing last Tuesday? I would have no clue. And that's the truth. So I hope you take this message, and I hope it brings you hope and inspiration, and maybe assists you in seeing the human collective with a rosier pair of glasses. It certainly did me. Thanks so much, you guys. All my love, and see you next week.